Hello everyone. So I want to continue on where I left off from class. I mentioned there was going to be a problem on exam 4 that we did not cover in class. Okay, so there's one more topic that I wanted to cover in class, but we didn't have time for. And this question is on exam 4, and that is number 9. Okay, so on exam 4, number 9, there is a question that I didn't cover in class, but that's why I want to show you how to do it now. Okay, so let's go back to what we did in class. So in class, we saw that we were looking at the binomial expansions, right? And we saw that the last one that we did was the binomial expansion for a plus b to the fourth, right? And I showed you that the binomial expansion for a plus b to the fourth is equal to a to the fourth, e to the fourth, plus 4a cubed b plus 6a squared b squared plus 4a b to the third plus b to the fourth. Okay, and I showed you how to derive this expansion. Remember I mentioned the coefficients follow Pascal's triangle, and the powers of A decrease by 1 and the powers of B increase by 1. Okay, so if we look at the expansion for the fourth power, you'll see that this is what we call the first term. Okay, so that's the first term. This is the second term. This is the third term. This is the fourth term. And this guy is the fifth term, right? Okay, so now the question, if you look at number 9 on exam 4, is asking for the sixth term of the expansion of 4x plus 2y to the 8th power. Okay, so how do we figure that out without expanding everything to the 8th power? So I'm going to show you an example right now, and then I want you to apply what I'm showing you to answer that test question. So the way you would do this is, so let's first look at the formula. So the formula we have is n r minus 1 and then a to the n minus r minus 1 and then b to the r minus 1. Okay, so now this formula basically finds the first term, second term, third term, fourth term, and fifth term. Okay, whichever term you're trying to find. So rather than expanding the whole thing, right, and then looking for that specific term you want, you can use the formula, and the formula will give you that specific term, which, or in this case, is the rth term, r, the letter r. Okay, so that will give us the r term. So for example, let's look at a question. I'm just going to make one up. So let's say I want you to find the no, let's make it the third. If I ask you to find the third term in the expansion a plus b to the fourth power. Okay, so what I'm asking you is, I want you to find me the third term, okay, in this expansion. Okay, I want you to find the third term in this expansion. So what's the third term in this expansion? We know the expansion of a plus b to the fourth. That is what we did just now, right? So what's the third term in this expansion? This guy is the third term in the expansion, right? So essentially, I'm asking you to find me that term, the third term, which is 6a squared b squared. We know that because, we expand the whole thing out. But let's say we don't expand the whole thing out, right? We can still figure out what the third term is using our formula. Okay, so how do we do that? So that would be the question, right? There's your formula. Find the third term in the expansion a plus b to the fourth. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to talk about what all the variables are. So n is the power of your expansion. So in this case, n is 4. Okay, so this guy is your n. In the case of the test question, the n would be 8, right? Because that's the power of the expansion. Okay, the r term, all right, the r term. So the r term would be the number, the term that you're looking for. Okay, so I'm looking for the third term in this expansion, right? So therefore r is equal to 3. In the test question, I'm asking you to find the sixth term. So r in the test question would be 6. Okay? Okay, and then a, right? So a is similar to what we did in class, right? A is just equal to whatever this is, which is a, right? And then b is equal to whatever this guy is, which is b, right? But in the test question, right? In the test question, so number 9 on test, right? The expansion I was asking you to find was 4x plus 2y to the 8th power, right? So again, this is your n, right? Your r would be the 6th term, which is what I'm telling you to find. And then this is your a, and then this is your b. Alright? In the example I'm doing, a is just a, right? A is a, and then b is b, in the example that I'm doing right now, to the 4th power. But in the test question, 4x is a, and then 2y is b. N is 8, and r is 6 in the test question. Okay? So this is the test question variables. Okay, so go think about that. Alright, so let's go back to our example. Okay. Okay, so back to our example. We want to find that third term in that expansion. So what we're gonna do is plug everything into the formula. So if I plug into the formula, we're gonna have 4, and then r is 3, so 3 minus 1. Okay. A is just a, right? A is still a. And then n is 4 minus 3 minus 1. And then times b to the r, which is 3 minus 1. Okay, so let's simplify that a little bit. So we're going to end up with 4 choose 2, and this is called a combination. Okay, I didn't talk about it in class because we didn't have enough time, but this guy right here is called a combination. And I'll explain how to compute this in a few minutes. Okay, but that's called a combination. And here, if we continue to simplify, we're going to get a to the 4 minus 2, which is 2, right? And then b to the 3 minus 1, which is 2. Okay, now how do we compute that combination? So the way we compute combinations is like this. The notation that we use, okay, is actually n choose r. That's how you read that, n choose r. N choose r is equal to NCR. NCR is basically what a combination is. And NCR is defined to be n factorial divided by n minus r factorial times r factorial. Okay, and again, this is really there's a major topic about this in probability, but you know, we're just gonna briefly go over it. Okay, and we can just use our calculators. All right, so if you had to compute n choose r, right, or in this case we are trying to compute 4 choose 2. Okay, so how do we do that? So how do we do 4 choose 2? So if we had to compute 4 choose 2, all right, that is the same as 4c2. All right, and like I said, you can work out the factorials if you want, or just plug in the calculator. So how do you plug it into calculator? You're gonna go into math. We're gonna press 4 first. Okay, then you're gonna go into math. then you're going to go into PRB. Right? So if you go to math and then you go into PRB, you're going to see that NCR is number 3. Okay? So you want to go into number 3, NCR. And then after that, your NCR is going to show up on your screen. Then you're going to press the number 2. Okay? And that will compute 4 choose 2. And if you did that correctly, 4 choose 2 should give us 6. Okay? So 4 choose 2 is equal to 6. So let's put everything together now. Alright, so let me erase this. Okay, so we're going to put everything together. Let's see what happens. So we just used our calculator and we saw that 4 choose 2 is equal to 6. And then what's left over? A squared B squared. Okay, so that's it. That's our answer. Okay. So the answer to our question, which was finding the third term in the expansion a plus b to the fourth. The answer to that is the third term in this expansion. Okay, the third term in this expansion is 6a squared b squared. Let's check that. Okay, remember we did the expansion already in class and in the beginning of this lecture. So if we go back and we look at our expansion, what is the third term in the expansion? See, right here, 6a squared b squared. And if we look back, right, we got the same thing, 6a squared b squared. You see that? So technically, we didn't have to expand the whole thing, right? If we wanted to find a specific term, we can just use our formula to find a specific term rather than having to expand the entire thing. So back to the test question. Okay, so let's go back to the test question. Test question 9. Okay, so back to test question 9. I wanted you to find the sixth term of the expansion 4x plus 2y to the 8th power. Alright, meaning if I expanded this whole thing out, right, you know, doing Pascal's triangle, and then, you know, decreasing powers of a, increasing powers of b, right, and I look for that sixth term, what is that sixth term going to be? That's the question. But obviously, I don't want you to expand the whole thing to the 8th power. That'll take a while. I just want specifically which one is the sixth term. Okay, so again, I want specifically which one is the sixth term. What is the sixth term? Okay. So how would you do that? Again, this is your n. You plug everything into the formula. That's your n. That is your r. This is a. This is b. Okay, so when you plug everything into the formula, you're going to have to do some simplification. I did another example in class, so look back at your notes. Okay, if you have any other questions, let me know. See you later.